Okay, here we are again. I have a new file open here, and what I've done is I have opened up, oops, I have opened our file, motion file, and I've opened up the boxing C3D file. So I'm not going to open that again, I already have it open, and so we can kind of look around at this, and that's looking okay. But you'll notice that there's some dark color C3Ds, and what that means is that there's some of those missing throughout. So to compensate for those, what I'm going to show you here is just a little bit of a trick in order to fix the occlusions where you can see where Zawadi had his arms up in the air. And so some of the dots either became occluded or they didn't reflect properly. Anyway, so to compensate for that, here's what we're going to do. We are going to go to the characters here. We're going to bring our actor into the scene, and you can see our actor is here. And what we're now, actually before we deal with the actor, I want to show you this. So when I click on any of the dots, you can kind of see the motion path of the dots here. And actually, let me just hide the actor for right now. We'll bring him back in a minute. Here's what we have. And what I want to do is I want to make some rigid bodies. And so in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to control select all the dots on the foot, including the ankle. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to, in this window here, go to the rigid bodies, and I'm going to add a rigid body, and I'm going to rename this to right foot. Right foot, okay? And so then what I'm going to do is we're going to do a little smoothing on this. Maybe we'll bring it to 25 or something. Okay, and then you'll see kind of tells you that that's been smoothed just a bit. So I'm going to regenerate the marker, and I'm just going to say the current, right? And then it's checked, it says done. So now what we can do is we see that it's put this dot in this red dot in the center, and that's roughly equivalent to the centroid of where all those dots would be triangulated. Now you'll see that our, there's still a little bit of moving around with our dot, but as the semester goes on, I'll show you how to clean that up a little bit better. But I just want you guys to get the hang of this for now. So now you'll notice that there's a little bit of a problem with our hand on this side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select these three dots right here, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to make another rigid body, and I'm going to call this right hand. Right? And so now I'm going to do the same thing, maybe give it a smoothing of 20, and then I'm going to regenerate the marker animation from that on the current one. And so now you'll see that the hand seems okay. When you guys do this and watch this on your own screen, it'll look a little better than what I just did. Anyway, so now what I want to do is I want to make sure that my chest dots are fine, because when he puts his arms up in the air, they tend to get occluded. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to make a rigid body, and I'm just going to call this front chest. I just want to make sure that those dots don't get occluded. I'm going to maybe do a smoothing of 10 on that, because I don't think they disappear as much. And then I'm going to regenerate. I'm going to do the current, and so that will then smooth that animation throughout the scene. And this is kind of you can watch. Oh, actually, I picked the wrong. So that's good to know. Okay, so I actually picked the wrong dot there. That's not what I wanted to do. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to remove that one while I have it selected. So I remove, I say OK, and you'll see it goes back. So now I'm going to just double click in the gray, and I'm going to pick the right dot. So I want this right, that, and then I want that. And I'm just going to rotate up. See, I picked the wrong dot again. So you got to be careful about picking the right. This, I want the sternum dot. Okay, very good. Now you can check yourself, your dots, by looking over here, and that's actually probably the safer way to do it. So now I'm going to make a rigid body. I'm going to call this front chest. Again, same thing. I'm going to smooth it a little bit, and I'm going to say regenerate, current, and there we go. Now we have our rigid body of the chest, right? And let's get this rotation out of here, right? And so there we go. and you can kind of see how that moves around. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to do it for the back. So I'm going to pick this dot, and this dot. And I'm going to double check. I want right rear shoulder, left rear shoulder, and then I want the top spine. Okay, so same thing. I'm going to add a rigid body, and I'm going to call this top back. And I guess we'll do maybe I think we'll do a 25. I don't know. You can adjust these as you feel the need. We're going to regenerate, and we're going to do current, and that's good. So now we can rotate this back around, and so you see that we've generated some rigid bodies, and so now that's looking pretty good. Okay, looking pretty good. Okay, so now before we go on, I'm going to save this file. I want to save this as, and now you guys can save this wherever you want. I'm going to save this in libraries, my documents, and I'm making a motion builder. And for every character or person I use, I make a folder for them because the T-pose is usually recyclable throughout. And then I'm going to call this boxing rigids, so that I know I made some rigids in there. Okay, so save. Now that that's done, we're going to give this a try. So I'm going to bring back the, well, I'm just going to show my actor again. Okay, so there's my actor. And, okay, so now if we open up the actor here, and then I import the marker set that we had made earlier, which is, I had made a couple here. It doesn't matter which one we use. It's just use the one that we made earlier. And it's going to be the same thing. You pick your optical markers and select them all. And bring it over to here. And there we go. So they're all mapped on there nicely. And so now what we do is we say active. And you see we have a problem with our hand here. So we'll have to fix that. It looks like that my hand dots were backwards. And so that may actually, well, no, and then they fix themselves later on. So that actually is something that's worth going back into Nexus to fix before we try to make our rigid bodies in here. But before we go on and go fix that, what I want you to do is I want you to go into this tutorial folder here, and then you're going to see Maya characterized. I just want you to bring that character, drag it in, say merge, and merge with no animation. Okay, so then once that character is in there, I want you to go to the character, click on the plus, and double click on Maya. And I want you to pick actor input and say active. And then what I want you to do is I want you to hide the actor all. And so you'll see that Maya's shoulders are kind of not looking all that great, and her hands are messed up, but we'll fix her hands. We can fix that with the dots. And you'll see that, it looks pretty good. Okay, so but the first thing we want to do is we want to fix those shoulders. And so you should be in this part, and I want you to be on retarget actor. And so in retarget actor, we're going to see something in here under motion reduction. I want you to see the shoulder reduction. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull that up. It's something, and you can actually go beyond 100. You can take this up to like 250, and you'll see that it kind of goes too high. So let's just go to like, I don't know, 75 is usually a pretty good value. Good. So now, I'm just going to give this a quick, I'm going to turn on recycle to play, and I'm going to hit play, and we'll see how, I don't know how this is going to look on your video, but I just want to see how this turned out. And you'll see that the hands are a little broken, and that's because the dots were reversed. But overall, the animation turned out well. I think the head is a little off center, so we're going to do the same thing with the head that we did with the shoulders. So let's stop this and then take the head reduction, and you'll see that we'll do that, and then I want to take the neck, and I want to do that a little bit. I don't know, we could even play around with the chest a little bit. And so now you see what that does. It's basically zeroing out the body, and there we go. That looks much better for the head. Yeah. And so now you could turn the head around, and you could actually you could put something in the scene and you can move that and you can parent the head to that and have the head follow that around. But that's a little advanced for what we're doing right now. Basically what I want you guys to understand is this process of map the dots from a T-pose onto the actor, get that lined up nicely, and then I want you to be able to import a partially tracked trial from Vicon, either Nexus or whatever you're using from Nexus, and bring it in and then kind of make some rigid bodies, be able to map those on and understand the difference between fixing it within Nexus, which in the case of renaming oftentimes is easier within Nexus than it is in motionbuilder. But you have to figure out the balance. But you can see I did relatively little work and this turned out pretty good. So if you guys can put this together and then just save all your work and do that by the end of the class, I think you should be fine. So, and you know, this tutorial should be substantial enough, I think, to help you do this. Okay.